Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi everyone. Today we're talking about productive. Productive is the ability to focus energy, time, and resources on the priorities that matter most. Consistently turning goals into meaningful progress while helping others stay clear, aligned, and effective. I'm going to mix up the format a little bit today. Often what I will do is I will use an article of sort as a base, and I will reflect on my experience with it. Today, I have compiled many articles, and I am going to make a statement, and then I might take a moment. So if I pause, I'm still here, and I'm going to reflect on it and add or not. But all of these statements I find to be very compelling, and they spoke to me. So when we talk about productive, a lot of people think about busy, right? And busy is not the same as productive. In 2026, the leaders who win won't be the ones working the hardest. They'll be the ones working with the clearest priorities. I'm not going to cite every different source I received this from per statement, but you will get them in the show notes. So I really resonate with this statement of not being productive in the busy form, but really being clear priorities. And for me, what clear priorities look like include my calendar, which some of you have witnessed before, and my calendar is equally balanced with colors because I want to have a balanced life and I have a lot of different priorities. And this helps me do that. So when I feel like something's a little out of balance, I can visually see that. And yeah, I have times where I have to dive into something I'm working on in a certain capacity. And so, yes, my calendar looks a little different, but then I know that I might need to weigh a little heavily on being in nature if I'm going to spend a lot of time on the computer during working hours and after working hours in the evening, that I'm really going to have to maybe spend a whole day where I just hike and I'm in nature, because for me, that's balance. So to be productive, this is what it takes for me. Yeah, not everybody's the same as me, but I think there's something to be said about this because we're living in this crazy world where everything's just moving so fast and we have so many interactions coming at us that I think we need to look at how we do things a little bit differently. So productive isn't about volume of activity. It's about focusing energy, time, and resources on the priorities that matter most, just like I said. The word priority is singular for a reason. When everything is a priority, nothing is, right? And that can get very confusing. So when you are running from one thing to the next, but you don't really have a vision, which I will touch on in a little bit, that comes up. Productive leaders consistently turn goals into meaningful progress and help others stay clear, aligned, and effective along the way. And this is why it's important that as a leader, you're not wanting to make everything a priority. It'll get very confusing for your team. They will not be clear, they will not be aligned, and it will not be effective along the way. So really, clarity is the problem. Why effort alone fails. Most teams aren't underperforming because they're lazy. They're underperforming because they're overloaded, misaligned, and unclear. It is so essential to have these pieces of alignment and clarity and then know that they are weighted appropriately. This is not an easy task. I have watched companies try to figure this out in different ways, right? I have one team that I am familiar with, and basically they're feeling like they're overloaded, but the leader is confused on exactly what they're doing all the time. So she had recommended timing. Like, what are you spending your day on? Timestamp how much time you're spending in different ways to see, do we need another person to come in and handle certain priorities? And really understanding the alignment that needs to happen and clarity with that. This isn't an easy task, especially if your team pushes back on even doing time management in such a way that you can understand better. It might mean you spend a day literally shadowing them if they're not going to be doing that, so that you can see where the time is going to. And not every day is the same, especially in vacation rentals, which many of you are in that are listening to this. Leaders often spend their days reacting, especially in hospitality, right? Moving from emergency to emergency instead of making meaningful progress. Reactive leadership is defensive. Proactive leadership creates value. So, what does it look like to be a proactive leader? For me, being a proactive leader is setting your priorities, right? You might run from thing to thing on certain days. That happens, but that shouldn't be every day. No, you're not there just to run from thing to thing. You have priorities. And sometimes that means that you block out your calendar. You go somewhere else. You work from home for a day, whatever it is. But you ensure that you are being proactive and you're not just in that reactive mode all day long. It's very easy to get into. And when the team sees that they can do that to you all day, I promise they will. You are teaching them. The leadership gap isn't always obvious, but its effectives show up as delays, confusion, and missed goals. And so when we talk about the effects of it being delays, confusion, and missed goals, you want to ensure that you are proactive, because if you are in that reactive place, that's what's going to happen is you are going to be delayed in your projects. You're going to have your own confusion on what you're really supposed to be focusing on, and you're totally going to miss the goals. And you're teaching your team, and they will do the same. They are watching you. So focus. How productive leaders choose what matters. Define and commit to one wildly important goal. Teams focused on one or two critical objectives are far more likely to deliver breakthrough results. They should know what their focus is and be very clear with them on that and give them the tools for that. Now, that can get tough in small companies where you might be handling a lot of different things. And so they might need the reminder of, all right, we're in the busy season right now. This is what your focus is, and this is what your priority is. Because during the slow season, it might have been something else, and we all need those reminders. Productive leaders are skilled at filtering what requires their attention versus what can be delegated. This is a strategic practice, not just a personal discipline. I'm going through that right now, right? I am co-chairing for initiative of basically education in the vacation rental industry, and we are pushing towards the tail end, and I am coming together with what do I need to focus on and what can I delegate. Now, that means if I've delegated it, I delegate it. I don't get my hands back in there because I watch leaders do that a lot. And so you define and commit to one wildly important goal. My goal is to be more high level and not get in the weeds as much. And in the position of co-chairing this initiative, I can easily get in the weeds. And so balancing what that looks like. and blocking my time for when I'm high level and when I do get in the weeds. The opportunity for 2026: fewer, clearer priorities. Strategic focus is what creates clarity across the entire organization. We think about that, and you think about your company or your position. Can you do that? Fewer. Well, is there areas for delegation? Ensure that those priorities are really clear. So, alignment. Keeping the team rowing the same direction. Ah, not always easy. When alignment is clear, teams can work independently. No constant check-ins needed. The design, development, and marketing teams all know the target. So again, I'm going to go back to the education platform that I'm in the middle of right now. And what we do is we come together as a team, and we all go into smaller teams because we have a team of like 22 different leaders in the industry. And so then we break off into smaller teams, and then we meet, we outline the content together per se, and then we break off with each actual course, and somebody owns it, and they go off and they do their part. And it's very clear. And so they are able to work independently. We aren't checking in all the time. At the point that we're checking in is like, okay, do you need any support on this? Do you need any proofing on this? Let's make sure that you have the support you needed to move forward. And then we might close with, okay, are there gaps in our content that we might need to add a fireside chat with or something like that? But leaders must help team members draw clear connections between their daily tasks and the organizational mission, turning routine work into meaningful contributions. I talk about this a lot. When you're working with teams, it's very important to ensure that they understand the why and they feel like they're making a difference. If you just say, you need to do this, and you don't really give them the foundation of it, it's not going to be as effective. So paying attention to that. When leaders start with purpose, the fog lifts, teams regain clarity, intrinsic motivation, and they lean in. Absolutely. So execution, turning goals into meaningful progress. 2026 marks a shift from experimentation to execution. The question is no longer whether change will happen, but how quickly leaders can make it real. Oh, we're constantly changing in everything that we do, right? My business, I feel like I'm constantly innovating to keep leaders excited and engaged. Structure supports intentional decision making. When a system is in place, leaders don't have to decide whether to slow down. The structure already accounts for it. The next frontier isn't mastering tools, it's knowing when technology should augment, accelerate, or stay out of the way of meaningful work. Oh, this is so true. And it's so tricky. I mean, we're so in this day and age of AI, and there's so much noise around it. A challenge for you. Ask your team what is the one thing they must do to move forward this week. And does everyone know it? Clarity is infrastructure. Invisible when it's working, costly when it's missing. Build it before you need it. Productive leadership isn't a personal discipline. It radiates outward. When you focus well, your team focuses well. They're always watching you, I promise. Okay, I shared a lot of little tidbits today. Now, all of the resources that I have referenced will be in the show notes, and so you can go and read them there. I leave with you this quote. Stop measuring days by degree of productivity and start experiencing them by degree of presence. By Alan Watts. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.